Hi
Hello.
guys, hello, how are you doing? It is day 124 of our lockdown vlog and it is Wednesday the 22nd of July. So yeah, today was the day. Went back to work today. So actually, it's been a while since I've actually had to put in like a few hours solid out of the house. And ooh, it felt weird. But actually, pretty good. I will say I'm going to have to build up my stamina for actual sort of work because, like, around here, like, I've got things done, but you can very easily punctuate them with quite a lot of sitting down.
Yeah. Our time has very much been our own to do what we
Yeah,
want
sort
with,
of like,
hasn't
so
it?
it'll be like, oh, I've got to do a bit of housework, and then I'll do a bit of housework, and then I'll have a cup of tea, and then I'll maybe put some laundry on, and then I'll have a cup of tea, and lots of that sort of thing. So today I like went in, don't sort of feel too sorry for me because it's not like I did like a back-breaking 12-hour shift or anything. I went in at about 2 and I came home at about 7. So this is not like I had like the hardest day. But considering I have, and that was without, well, that was actually without without any tea because we haven't got tea or coffee making facilities because we've got no running water. So yeah, no tea in that time. And when I've been able to have tea, basically whenever I've wanted tea, not having tea for 5 hours, oh, that's bullshit. But it was really like nice to sort of be back in work and getting shit done. But I sort of like I went in with the mindset of right, I've got to go and get it all COVID safe, but sort of kind of forgot that like just having closed down any business for any reason for any length of time means there's loads of shit you've got to do anyway. So I like kept like getting distracted by shit I had to do anyway. So it was one of those days where like I kept starting a job and then going into another room to get something I needed to finish that job, and then noticing something else that needed doing and started doing that, and then started doing. So I ended up starting a lot of jobs and not finishing anything like as many of them. So the place is in somewhat disarray at the moment, but I'm going to be going back in sort of quite a lot over the coming days and weeks. And it'll get there, and I'm confident that it'll get there, and I'm pretty sure the place will look really nice and actually use this opportunity to get it like really, really deep cleaned and sorted. And but yeah, overall I think I feel quite positive about it, and I feel like optimistic, also kind of satisfied with being productive. I did not like that because I came home. You've literally said like nothing yet, bless. I've just burbled at the screen. So Chris is also here to any of those who just listen to these things.
Oh yeah. What happened then is you said that Chris is also here, and I waved.
Yeah.
But if people are just listening, that's not helpful.
He is here, I promise.
I am here.
Yeah, you're just doing classic what you have to do when I'm on one. But yeah, just.
I was thinking about those anchovies. We got anchovy. I had those next to the computer for a thing I was doing the other night, but I was just thinking it's weird to have anchovies next to your computer, and I'd like salt and vinegar next to the computer. Like,
Did
anchovies.
we talk about it on the blog with the
Anchovies
whole like?
are great. Just great for sort of walking around fish.
I
If
don't
you just
know.
want to have fish on the go.
There's no such thing as a walking around fish.
Yeah, just have some fish on the go.
No.
Well, I get that from my friend Phil because he once bought himself some mozzarella. For what he described as just having some walking around cheese.
That's a really terrible choice.
He didn't. It is a terrible choice. He didn't realise it comes in like water, and then when he opened it up, and there's water in there. He didn't realise you're not supposed to eat the water, so he was like drinking this water, going, "Oh, that's really horrible."
That's right. So he thinks walking around cheese is a thing. Like I guess Baby Bell, that's a walking around cheese string. Yeah, but like. Brie isn't a walking around cheese. Cheddar is not a walking around cheese. Most cheese is not walking around cheese. Fun-sized cheeses, I guess, maybe. But forgetting that though, he obviously knows he likes mozzarella and has had mozzarella in the past. Has he never opened a packet before, or had he forgotten?
I think mozzarella, unless you're like going to cook a pizza or something, or you're making a salad or what, I think it's very plausible that you've just never bought some mozzarella.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But
so
then he did buy it as walking around cheese.
He just saw some and went, oh yeah, that's like you get on pizzas, isn't it? That's probably nice, and just bought some and thought, I'd just have that in the cart.
If you've never opened it before and you've never bought, like, sure, those packets feel like they're full of liquid.
I always open them over the sink.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, mess.
Yeah, I can't imagine that water was very nice to drink.
No,
like,
cheesy water.
I guess nutritious.
Put it in a smoothie.
Oh.
Whack it in with some beetroot.
Oh. But yeah, what the, like, walking around, is that a thing? Walking around on cheese?
Yeah.
Where was he going walking with it?
I don't know.
Around.
I don't remember. This,
I have so many questions, Philip Cooper. Like what?
Did you know that when Phil went vegetarian...
I did know about this, but these guys probably don't. I already know what
Phil
it is.
Went vegetarian, and for a couple of months he carried on eating Scotch eggs because he didn't realise that there was any meat in a Scotch egg.
Yeah, what did he think it was? It was what happens when bread meets egg.
He said, yeah, he thought it was just like a chemical reaction between the egg and breadcrumbs, create this kind of pink layer.
So basically he was never vegetarian then, if he carried on, or did he once he was found out?
Once he found out, he
stopped
then,
eating the Scotch
and he
eggs.
was vegan for a while. I think now he's back on like fairly omnivorous diet. But...
Actually, that does remind me though. The day before, I should give shout out actually to my friend Elle Wheeler, because this is fucking phenomenal. She actually got her results from her degree a couple of days ago, and she was studying law. And obviously, as you might imagine, to most people, being in your third year of a degree this year must have been shit. Must have been absolutely shit. So
absolutely
shit. Because like not being able to.
Was it?
Absolutely
shit.
Because like all of the whole plan for all of your degree had to go out of the window.
Yeah.
But all exams, and like they still had to do exams. It wasn't like the rest of the degree was written off. So you still had to just do all of your studies, but you couldn't even go to the university library or any of that shit. So she...
Any of that absolute shit.
Right, shut up.
What? I'm enjoying it.
I know you were, but I'm trying to...
I've been mixing my drinks.
I'm trying to big up my friend here.
Okay.
So third year of a law degree, pandemic hits. Also, by the way, she's got a toddler running around at home and 2 other kids. She got herself a first in law this year, amongst all of this, which I have to say is one of the most impressive things anyone I know has ever done.
More than I've done in lockdown.
It's more than most people have done in lockdown. So she got her results the other day, and was rightly quite emotional and quite I guess overwhelmed by it. So we're in a group chat, and so she told us we'd all actually, because the results came out a minute past midnight on Sunday night / Monday morning. And so we were all sort of on a group chat, sort of going through this, and then she got her results, and she sort of was like, guys, I've done it, I've got a first. And then she went quiet for a while, and then she came back, and then she disappeared off again. She was like, hang on, guys, I've just got to eat a Scotch egg. I was just like, is that what you do when you get a first? Is that the first thing? But she's like, I need to eat, because I think there'd also been some fairly significant drinking in the like waiting hours going on, which is fair.
Not insignificant drinking.
No, significant drinking. But I think sort of in fear and anticipation, because she was on to have a first up until this year. And then obviously like things being as they were, a few grades were like, some of them were in the 2-1 category, and some might have been enough to sort of drag down, and it was all very like, theoretically, I think I've done enough, but I don't know if I've done enough. And actually having it is like, oh god, the relief of that. Like, I'm so proud. Like, oh my god, like I didn't get a first. I was really proud of my 2-1. So anyone getting first, to be honest, I'm fairly staggered. But getting a first in law, like, I think the only thing that would like be more baffling to me would be getting a first in maths. I just don't have one of those brains at all, and so it's amazing anyway, but to do that under these circumstances is staggering. So massive shout out to Elle. That is amazing. Well done. I hope you had a really good Scotch egg. But yeah,
one of those Tesco's Finest or Sainsbury's Taste of the Difference.
I hope so, yeah.
Or from M&S or something.
She's bougie. She probably got some nice ones. But yeah, I quite liked it. Sort of like, I'm feeling emotionally overwhelmed. I must have a Scotch egg. I've never had Scotch egg. Back in my Omni days.
Got to have a system.
I don't really like egg that much. I never did. This is not a vegan thing. And cold, like boiled eggs cold in your sandwich box. Like, I'm like, bleh. So Scotch eggs, funnily enough, never really appealed to me. But yeah, they seem to be a thing that I just never got because some people who like them really like them. So that's a thing that I will never experience, nor do I particularly want to. But if that's what gets you sorted, if you're feeling a little bit emotionally overwhelmed, Scotch eggs, go for your life. It's fine. Have at it. I didn't actually intend to talk about any of that. I was talking about my being back in work. But yeah, basically the end of that story is it does feel good to be back in work. Although I'm not used to sort of, because I got back home and actually initially when I got back home I carried on doing things. I was like, oh, I'll put the bins out and I'll put that down and I'll do that, like cats wanted feeding and that sort of stuff. But when I did eventually then sit on the sofa, I had that first like big energy crash that you get when you get in from work and you suddenly go, oh. I haven't had that for ages since I've had one of those. And I didn't like it. But I'm going to have to work on my stamina there because I'm going to have a lot more of those in the foreseeable future, I think. So, but it is quite nice that I've got a little housewifey at home that could just make me dinner.
Didn't I? I would have tried to do more around the house, but I got derailed by my friend calling up and we were literally on the phone for hours, as is typical. But
we've mentioned it before.
Steph,
the chats he has with Steph, like epic. Hours and hours. Like I don't talk to anyone on the phone. Well, I don't like talking on the phone anyway. But like, I've never talked to anyone for hours and hours.
I was on the phone to him for about 2.5 hours the other day. But
when you went to Edinburgh, and it was the first time we'd ever been apart. I don't think we talked for like 2 hours at any point.
What would we say? But like,
you were talking about comic books when I came in, and it sounded like you were quite far into quite a long conversation about comic books.
It's quite a good conversation.
I'm sure it was.
But I was talking to him about comic books and everything, but he told me he'd been on the phone to someone the other day for 5 hours.
I can well believe that for Steph. If I told you that though, you'd fall down. You wouldn't be able to 5 hours on the phone. I don't talk to somebody in person for 5 hours. That's a lot of chat.
We had a lot of stuff to
And
get
when
through.
you're talking on the phone, there's no sort of idle moments, because if you're hanging out for 5 hours, that's not going to be 5 hours straight of conversation.
No, you're not watching
There's going to be
like chilling or just
cup of tea, a bit of moments of just comfortable silence. Like on the phone, it is just talking for 5 hours. That is staggering. I'm quite impressed. I couldn't do that. But I've never really been one for chatting on the phone. I don't like the lack of visual feedback.
It depends
on
the
person,
but Steph is very good at filling any silences, so it's all good. But,
that sounds like a backhanded compliment. Oh, he's very good at filling silences.
I've tried to be good around that because I know you're going back to work, so I'm trying to pick up the slack and kind of help you out and things.
Thank you, appreciate it.
But I failed a bit in terms of just we thought the batteries had gone in our doorbell.
Yeah.
I've changed those
batteries.
It's
one of those ones that's properly wired in, but it's got batteries, but it's then wired to the bell out the front.
So I've changed those batteries and it's still not working. So I don't know what the issue is now.
No, I don't know if maybe it's. I've got a battery tester in work. I'll bring it home with me tomorrow. I want to see.
I did cook Ellie a nice dinner when she got in from work, but we've both subsequently had a few drinks, and we're now both thinking we'll probably have some additional dinner, aren't we?
Yeah, it was. Well, to be fair, before we'd had drinks, we did kind of both conclude that it wasn't
it's a really nice
sort of portion.
It's a really nice dish, but it probably could do with something with it as well.
It's that we've mentioned it before. It's the spinach verde that Chris makes, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's really nice. It's
very simple, by the way. Anyone can do it.
It's like the best thing I can equate it to. It's sort of texture-wise, it's similar-ish to gnocchi. But it's bright green because it's got a lot of spinach in it. And it's sort of in little sort of bite-sized chunks.
It's like gnocchi, but with more vitamins in, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. Better for you. And then you today you did it with garlic and roasted cherry tomatoes, and it was lovely. And actually, I don't think I would put anything else with it. I think I would just have more of it.
Well, that's it. You don't need anything. It doesn't go with something. You don't need a side or anything maybe a bit of garlic bread on the side, maybe.
Meh.
Wouldn't say no.
Garlic bread's overrated, I think.
I love garlic bread.
I think
if it's good garlic bread, bad garlic bread is rubbish.
Yeah.
But like a nice.
Actually, yeah,
bread.
like I've had like really nice garlic bread like in Italy, like, and it's freshly baked bread,
Alright,
garlic bread. Like,
show
oh,
off.
that's nice. But like the baguettes that you get, like the par
I've
baked.
had good garlic bread at the family reunion in Essex. I'm sorry we haven't all been to Italy.
You're not from Essex.
You're not from Italy.
I didn't say I was. You said family reunion in Essex.
Yeah, my dad's family is from Essex.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I just thought you were. I
So
thought
when
you were
I
just
watch,
born and raised in Bedford,
No, but
and
you
you were
managed-
all Bedford.
He managed to escape to make a better life for his family. But even now, if I see The Only Way is Essex on the telly, I think there, but for the grace of God, you know. That could be me, head to toe in fake tan and vajazzlings.
You wouldn't have had the vajazzles.
I might. You don't know if I'd spent my whole life in Essex.
You haven't got the vag for
I
jazzling.
could have had pee-jazzles.
A pajazzle. Is that a thing?
I think so.
Actually, I think like blokes do get essentially what would be a vajazzle, but I'm sure it shouldn't be called a vajazzle because the vag bit comes from
Yeah, so it's
vagina.
a pee-jazzle.
A pejazzle.
Pee-jazzle.
A pejazzle. Fair enough. Okay. Right. We did actually want to talk about some stuff, but it's been slightly derailed.
Well,
But yeah, well, we had. Well, this is quite nice because actually we finished eating, and actually I'm so good. I brought some work home to do with me, which was laminating some stuff. So I was doing that while we were watching some telly, and then the plan was we were going to vlog, and then I was going to go have a soak in the bath because I'm probably going to be quite sore tomorrow, and then we were going to just chill in front of the telly. But we had surprise visitors. Di and Amy, who you met previously, who we went to Dorset with. They are our other bubbled household, as you would know, and they brought Lucy back because my parents took Lucy for walks this afternoon. So David brought Lucy back and then sort of said at the door, "Hey, so can we come in for a conversation?"
yeah.
And I thought, oh, that sounds.
What's this? Sounds
like
pretentious.
he didn't sound like he was upset or anything, like sort of tense or anything, but it was just like,
I thought maybe there was some news.
Some gossip or some news, or but actually, as it turns out, he's just sort of forgotten how to people in lockdown and just gone, I just thought, since we're allowed to hang out together now, it'd be nice to have a conversation with some other people.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you did literally just mean, can we have a conversation, not a specific conversation?
And it was nice. We had a nice conversation.
lovely.
We talked about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this. I still know nothing about Bitcoin. I do not understand
I don't really
Bitcoin.
understand Bitcoin.
It troubles me. I want money, and I feel like people are doing secret online
things
money,
to get money.
and that I'm not in on. But that's fine, isn't it?
It's fine. It's fine.
But it was nice having people around. But it did mean
it did just meant that so I sort of scheduled for we didn't really have a schedule for the evening,
well,
but the sort of vague plan for the evening got pushed back a little bit.
my plan for the evening hadn't involved following the one glass of red wine I had with dinner with a couple of cans of cider, but then your brother had a cider, and I was like, yeah, I'll have a cider.
Quite good. This is only
I
my
got
second glass
led
of wine.
astray.
Since when are you the lush of the pair of us? Ooh.
So
Is Lucy in here? Sorry, I've just realised that the baby gate is open and she might be getting our bed very wet because she was a very wet dog.
yeah, she went for a swim in the canal, so probably our bed is there. Lucy!
Oh, it's too late now if she is upstairs. Crisis averted. The dog wasn't upstairs anyway. The dog was just sort of hiding in the living room. But yeah, she's a very wet dog because they took her out. I'm not sure if they took it down the river or to the canal, but anyway, she came in very, very wet. And we do let the dog on our bed. We are pushovers to all of our animals, but I do draw the line at wet canal dog bed. So that's when you have to stay down here. She's come over to join us now. So yes. So that's where we are.
I went to town myself today, didn't I?
Yeah, well, we both went in together, but then you ran some errands.
I did. I bought some batteries that didn't help, and I went to. Well, I passed. Because I think it was quite. I haven't been to town much. I've talked about the kind of one or two times I've been to town previously since lockdown.
I can only think of two occasions. The one time you went to Wilco's to try and get cat food.
I mean, that was very early.
That was very early in
lockdown.
Like
practically pre-lockdown still.
And then a few weeks back you went in and you went to Iceland.
Yes. So this is my second. I mean, that was practically like at the start of lockdown still, that previous one. I'm not sure if that even counts as lockdown.
What, the Wilco one?
Yes. So this is only my second proper trip to town for Wilco, and I had a few different experiences. I went to the market.
Yes.
And there's not much open in the
Oh,
market.
it's quiet.
Well, it is.
That is like they were closed for such a long time, and then I think actually unfortunately because of the sort of nature of the kind of shops that were in there, a lot of them unfortunately had to fold. But also the market is about to be regenerated, so I think a few of the traders who aren't staying post development have already left.
So I'm hoping they've got brighter days ahead, but I did feel a bit bad for the guys who are trying to.
Yeah, I had to pop in there because actually where the escape rooms is in the basement of Newport Market. It's not actually attached, but that's the same building, so we're in the space underneath. So we have to go and put our rubbish in the bins for the whole building. So I actually popped through there today, and yeah, it was pretty bleak. But yeah, one or two shops. Although there is a shop, there's like a model shop for like model aeroplanes and trains and things, like one of those that you make yourself and you paint yourself and all of that. And he's always there come hell or high water. He always is there. Like because he always stays quite late as well. He's dedicated to his craft. But yeah, it was pretty dead there. It was quite
sweet
bleak.
shop was open.
It wasn't when I went in.
But I mean, no one there to actually buy sweets, unfortunately. And again, there's a comic book shop open.
Yeah.
I got quite excited when I saw the comic book shop because I thought maybe they'd have a book that I was after, and then I realised I'd already messaged them on Facebook about it. So
I saw actually quite a bleak little thing that I saw when I went to throw some rubbish out, because they've got like the big industrial bins. Is somebody had piled up in the cardboard recycling. And I know who it was. There's a record shop that's been in the market for like 25 odd years, and in the bins were loads and loads of just record covers, the sleeves, which I think had decorated the back of the stall. So that was quite sad because there was a little stack of them, and I sort of knew that stack of record sleeves kind of represented the decoration for that whole store that is no longer going to be there. They are going to move, sad. Hopefully. That was Criminal Records, they're called.
Hopefully they
so yeah, I believe they do intend to keep going, but find another site and things, which I do hope is the case, because there are some brilliant little stalls in that market.
If money wasn't a bit tight at the minute, I would have liked to have bought something from a comic book store just to support it, but I can't. I mean, if they'd had the specific thing I wanted, I could barely justify it. But
is that volume 2 of the 5? We've mentioned this before, but
I've messaged them about it. They don't have it.
If anybody has volume 2 of the Infinity Saga, Marvel Comics
Ultimate Graphic Novel Collection. But they didn't. But like, if they'd had that, I'd have bought it. But I'd be like, a bit naughty, really. I can't really afford this. But like, to just buy it a random thing.
Yeah. You would absolutely be justified in buying that if you found it, because this is going to become your white whale, isn't it? It's just going to be searching for it indefinitely. But
well, let's hope not. Let's hope I find it really soon and everything's fine.
Yes.
But
anyway, that has been quite.
To the market. That was the first place I went. Then I went to Sin City,
which is a comics shop.
Yeah,
but it's also modelling and games.
It's very
they're
quiet,
called Sin City Comics.
Very quiet in there, but I had a bit of a look around, a browse. Just being in town was a bit of a novelty, and I went to Holland and Barrett and bought me
a Vigo bar.
A Vigo bar, vegan hazelnut chocolate thing.
Oh, they're good.
And then I went to Iceland and picked up some frozen bits and pieces, including the
no chick strips. I love them.
But I got some bits for me as well while I was in there. And then I walked past Tiny Rebel, and it's the first time I've been into town since pubs have been open.
Yeah. And they're only open outdoors in Wales at the moment, just to sort of clarify what the rules are. They are open indoors in England, but only outdoors until the 3rd of August here.
It was nice in town, by the way, but like...
It was a nice day today. It was nice and sunny.
There wasn't some people were not social distancing.
No.
And I do think there's a sense of just people going, it's basically over now.
Yeah, there really is. Fine. And actually that's one of the main reasons why I'm really reluctant to be out and about now, because the people who are out and about now are the least cautious people and are just like being champing at the bit. But it was a pretty bad omen, really, wasn't it, when we got out of the car, because my mum dropped us into town because I had loads of like COVID safety stuff. So I had like a 5-litre like tub of hand sanitizer and loads of disinfectant spray and masks and gloves and loads of shit. So a huge amount to carry in. So Mum dropped us as close as she could, but they've actually closed the roads around there so that the bars can have bigger outdoor areas, which is a very good move, because just the tiny amount of outdoor space they had was just not worth them opening. So they've closed the road so that they can have more table space and stuff outside, which is a great call. But it does mean it's slightly tricky to get to the door of work. So that's partly the reason why you came in, to help me sort of lug all the stuff. So Mum dropped us at the end of the road, and literally to get we're a little, our entrance is on like a little side street. There's quite a lot of just offices, but actually quite a lot of it isn't really. It's kind of dead space. It's sort of, there's flats above, but there's not really anything in the street. It's not a busy street at all. Did not bode well that literally on getting out of the car before we'd even got to my front door, which is probably about 40 yards, maybe. In that space, there were already, we crossed paths with several people coming our way and just not getting out of the way. But then 3, I think it's fair to say drunks, but I suspect other substances maybe being regularly used by these folk, were just cans in hand singing and just meandering around it so we're holding off and sort of standing. I don't know why I'm still miming the can holding. I was not holding a can. So we're sort of holding back and kind of waiting for them to get out of the way, and then there's another lady coming towards us, and she clearly is doing all the right things. She had a mask on and she had all the stuff, and she was going so we're holding back so that she can get past, and these guys are just ploughing on forward, and you're like, oh god, literally this is my first time in town since March, and I haven't even got to my front door before I've already seen idiots. And then I did have to pop out to Le Pub to drop a couple of things into them there. We've mentioned Le Pub. Le Pub is for lovers, and it is my favourite place to drink and eat in Newport Town Centre. It is fabulous.
It is.
But they've been really good eggs to me, because currently, because of the building above me not being open and because of sort of COVID restrictions, I don't have access to the loos I normally have access to. Which is actually one of the things that's meaning we can't set an opening date until we've got that sorted, which is happening. We've got balls rolling, but we just don't have access yet. So Sam Dabb, who runs Le Pub, very kindly said that I could use their loos. I was like, oh, thank you. She's like, oh, we're here anyway. We're getting stuff ready. And actually, they're clearly really busy in there. So I popped up to Le Pub, but that did mean walking past Tiny Rebel. And it didn't it looked like it was really busy and really nice and everybody's having a good time, but it did not look the most social distancey. Well, and I guess everybody there might be in households, but that's not the impression it gives when you're just walking past a busy bar, is it?
The tables don't feel like they're 2 meters apart, do they? And I'm not trying to dick on them or anything, because they are my second favourite place to drink in Newport and my favourite place to eat, because I love their bear fries. And actually, it was when I was coming back from Iceland. It was a really hot day today, and I was walking past, and I could see everyone with their pints, and I just thought I'd love a pint of the Protonopia red apple cider that they do there. I would love to be sitting in the sun drinking a pint of cider. Now I don't know what their system is, if you have to book in advance or if it's walk up or whatever. It looked pretty busy, and so I'm not keen on that. And also I had a bag full of frozen food, so I didn't go in for a pint, but it looked really nice to me.
Yeah, I think that's the element of sort of the pub stuff that I do want to go back to the pub, but I want to go back to the pub and it be normal.
Yeah,
I don't want to go back to
a weird regimented social distance
pub. We are going to go. Le Pub hasn't opened yet. Le Pub have been working really hard to get towards reopening, and they really have gone all out. And I saw some of the work that they were doing today, and they really are. And I think very much we are going to make a point to go there to sort of support Le Pub, because we absolutely love them.
Yes.
I've mentioned before, they are a community-owned space, and they do some amazing things. And I want to support them. And also, I am massively reassured that they will be suitably COVID safe. So I will feel comfortable to go there. It's going to be table bookings only, and contactless, and one-way system for the loos, and literally anybody not obeying social distancing is immediately booted.
Plenty of hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
And I've known Sam since before I moved to Newport. So I used to go and gig in the old Le Pub. So from years back. So Yeah, we're big fans of the pub.
So yeah, we'll definitely that's probably going to be the first pub I'm indoor. Well, it is going to be the first pub I go in a long time. And generally speaking, even though we'll be allowed, I'm still going to be quite thin on the ground with my pub visits, and it probably will only be the pub that I'm willing to go to, and it will be a different beast because it's kind of table bookings. If you go along and there's a free table, they will let you have it, obviously, but because capacity is so much lower, I think for sort of previously, I'd finish work and then just be like, hey, I'm finishing in half an hour. Do you want to meet in the pub if you're coming home from work? And we could just drop in, but actually it sort of takes a bit of forward thinking now.
Well, that's it. That's part of the pleasure of a pub, isn't it? You can just go, just go for a pint and just do it. And so it's going to be a weird, different thing.
So yeah, I guess maybe like on weeknights and stuff, it might still be that, because it's all online booking, so you could probably go online and see if there's a booking space and grab it. But I think, I think lots of things are going to feel, it's going to be a bit uncanny valley. It's going to be like nearly normal, but just enough not normal to just constantly remind you. And I think that's the thing that I've struggled with throughout all of this, with lots of elements of it, is everything's got little reminders of the backdrop of this global pandemic. And even when you're watching something that is pure escapism and that is from another time, I'm like watching it and I'm like getting little like, oh, that's not very social distancing sort of thoughts in my head.
I'm more used to that, but definitely early on in lockdown, I got a real sense of like, oh, look at them hugging. That's a bit.
Well, I think that went away, and now that I'm sort of back interacting with people, I'm more hyper aware of it again. Whereas I think like it fell by the wayside because I was just not interacting with other humans at all. I basically saw you for most of lockdown, and at a distance at times my mum and dad.
It's very difficult because I've set the bar very high, haven't I, for people?
Yes, you have.
So you're going to have to interact with other people now, and you're going to be very underwhelmed.
Well, I don't like it. But, I do actually love lots of other people, but actually the general public that I don't know, I'm very dubious of.
I know, strangers are the worst. But you were talking about going to the pub after work sometimes. Another thing I used to do a lot after work was go to Aldi.
Yes.
Because there's an
Aldi walking past it on the way home.
Between the station in Newport and our house, there's an Aldi, so we'd walk past it, and you know, seldom is the occasion that there isn't something that you think like, oh, I could pick up a bit of this or something on the way home.
And there's such good value in
some
Aldi,
ingredient for dinner or some a bottle of wine or some treaty thing. So there's always, I tend to go in there. I guess most days, if I was on the way home from work, I'd go into Aldi, and this was the first time I'd been into Aldi since lockdown began. So it's been literally months and months, since March I haven't been to Aldi, which is, consider it somewhere I used to go every day.
Yeah.
And basically, on my last trip to Aldi, I've got a couple of bits in for the freezer last time I went before lockdown started, and one of the things I got in Aldi was chicken thigh burgers, they called them.
I
chicken
remember
thigh
them, yeah.
burgers. They're essentially, you're shaking your head.
Oh no, it's a confused look. A chicken thigh burger, like I assume with a burger, it's like a patty which has sort of been minced meat that's been made into a patty and then turned into a burger. So if they only use thigh meat to make it into a burger, so it's like a dark meat burger, or is it a chicken thigh and it's not a burger? Is it just a deboned chicken thigh?
Because here's the thing, because you get if you go to KFC, yes,
yeah, there's a lot of things going on there.
Or they do a flaming hot one, which is the equivalent of a kind of KFC, the whatever they call their hot burger, the Zinger burgers. It's so long since I've been to a KFC. So the Zinger burger, and so they're in a crumb. And if you go to somewhere like that, often they'll have a chicken breast burger, I guess, where it's they're going, oh, it's not processed, it's the whole, because chicken doesn't really mince very well.
No.
Anyway, so it's the whole breast.
Yeah, well, chicken burgers and chicken nuggets and things, you kind of imagine it being that, old school, when you were a kid, chicken nuggets from McDonald's before they were made a big thing of these are actually chicken breast. I didn't like them when I was a kid, and I don't think I suddenly developed a craving for them. Oh, they're real chicken breast now. But just that kind of just white meat.
Yeah.
Paste.
So this isn't a paste. Often you go and it isn't a paste. It's a chicken breast, and you can see it's a real bit of meat and kind of tears, and you can see the fibres of it or whatever.
Mm.
But these are chicken thighs, and I've always been a bigger fan of dark meat than the white meat, so that's good.
I'm the palest person ever,
But-
so I'm taking that deeply offensive.
Yeah, wow.
Not a fan of the light meat.
But like, I just think you're a little dry compared to the meat that's closest to the bone. But so like chicken thigh burger sounds good to me, right?
Right.
But it is just essentially like we had these. They're just a chicken thigh,
So it's just a
In batter.
deboned chicken thigh
Yeah.
that's been breaded.
or battered, and it's great. It's super great. But they're huge. They're not stingy, are they? They're
No,
big.
well, I think they're
Do you
doing
remember?
themselves a misservice by calling themselves burgers. Because if they just
Yeah.
called themselves like Southern fried chicken thighs,
And you
like,
try and put them
they're
in
like,
like a
that's not a
burger.
burger. You
You
can't
try
put
and
that
stick
in a
them in a
bun.
burger
It's
bun,
a
and
big,
they're sticking out the end.
it's a
And
big
they're
chunk.
really nice. But I'd never had them before until just literally the shop before lockdown. And then I've got.
The trouble with Aldi though, like you can go there and get like a favourite, and then you'll never see it again.
Well, I know, but I went there today,
Mm.
and they've got them,
Yay!
and so I've got some more now. So that's been something I've been looking forward to.
Happy ending.
Yes.
Uh,
And so, lockdown ended.
and they all lived happily ever after. I think that's probably a good point to leave it for today. There
Yeah.
were some other things to get on to, but as ever, we haven't. But I think actually I got very ranty at the end of yesterday, and I'm sure I'm going to get very ranty again soon. Because there's plenty of things that I could be ranting about. But actually, let's just have an optimistic day back in work, shall we?
Yes.
Right, so that we'll call that a day.
Positivity.
Do please, I keep saying it, but I'm going to keep batting on about it. That's
Batting
not
on
that's
about
not
it.
even a phrase, but okay, I'm going to keep banging on about it.
Right.
But yeah, if you have not yet subscribed and you've watched this far, please, you might as well just press the little subscribe button. It's going to be appearing on this screen any second now. You'll be really doing us a favour. We've got about 60 subscribers to go to get to our landmark that we need to. I think we're on 39, so 61 more to go. And we'll get to 100 subscribers, and then we could be youtube.com/Chris and Ellie, or / some sort of pithy name that we haven't thought of yet. Also, take your suggestions on what we should be, / what. So we will take that. So yeah, suggestions please in the comments. And in the meantime, after liking and subscribing, because there's no shame
Let
in
us know in the comments what you like to get from Aldi.
it. Yeah, look after yourselves. We'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, like and subscribe. There's no shame in it.
Bye bye bye.
Bye.